So I had moved them out of my house because I couldn't take the weed smoke and all that. But I told them, listen, here's an apartment. It's brand new. I'm going to pay for it for a year while y'all get yourselves together. You are now 25 and 22. 24 and 21.
So you were still trying to help them to become the men that they were supposed to be.
Right.
You know, I did this video on Brian Mcknight about a month ago. Now, we know that he's been like the poster child for deadbeat dads. Now, in relationships, you know, you have ups and downs, you have issues, you have problems. And sometimes the marriage doesn't work. And a lot of times the kids may be teen mom because they're connected to the mother. So the connection with the mother is so strong. So a lot of times it's teen mothers. And a lot of times dads doesn't get a chance to tell their side of the story, right? But in this story, right, I gotta, as a black man, as a married man, a father, a married man of 25 years, I gotta get at Brian Mcknight. I can't be a supporter of Brian Mcknight on this one. Because when you do your due diligence and you do your homework and you do a thorough background check, I can't support Brian Mcknight on this one. As a man of God, as a foundational black American, we say that we need to clean up the black community. And I often tell you guys, I'm not pro-black man, I'm not pro-black woman, I'm pro-black what's right. And I'm not feeling Brian Mcknight on this. I'm not in support of it. He gives these weak excuses as to why he's doing what he's doing. Now, mind you, he already has a Brian Mcknight Jr. But when he married this Filipino woman, he had another son, and he named him Brian Mcknight Jr., right? Because he wanted to do away with his other children, the children who he said was born in sin, the children who he said he had babies by a woman he didn't love, while at the same time having a whole bunch of other children outside of his marriage. And the sad part is, a lot of you red pill guys, a lot of you pink pill women, y'all want to hold each other accountable, but nobody wants to be accountable at all on either side for their bad behaviors, right? But he went on Anton Daniels' show, and let's look at what he said when he was on Anton Daniels.
Our two families are two prominent families in the Black Adventist Church. We both met at the college where I was going. She came, okay. I was a sophomore, she was a freshman. We kind of started dating. The next year she gets pregnant. This is back when shame was a real thing.
I know, yep, I get it.
She's back home, she tells me she's pregnant and that she's gonna get an abortion. Because I'm like, yeah, we should probably do that. You're 18, I'm 20. Why would we? I'm just about to start this whole thing. Maybe this is the route we need to go. And she agrees. I'm like, oh, dodged a bullet. I'm going out to sign my deal in California. When I leave there and get back to Huntsville, that's when she called me and said, actually, I didn't have the abortion. So now I'm like, I got to tell my mom. My mother, who played the piano and was singing in the choir every week, you know, in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, if your kid has a baby out of wedlock, you no longer can hold any church office. You can't sing up in front. You can't do it. You are held responsible for whatever the kids do. I honored my mother, and I tried to do the right thing with a woman that I hadn't even known a year yet. We got married in September, baby in November. We had sort of an agreement. You handle this part. I'm not changing diapers. I'm 20 years old. This was not what I expected to do. You made this decision. You're going to handle that, and I'm going to handle this.
Yeah.
When you make that bargain, you say, hey, you're going to take care of this. This is your responsibility. And they say, got it. And you go and you do what you have to do. You're expecting that to be the case. But we don't realize is that people will tell you whatever it is they want to tell you to keep you there until that first argument. Then the real thing starts to come out. But by then, you're looking at your life, you're like, well, and I had this conversation with my mother, like, why did you have me do this? You tried this, it didn't work. Now you got me doing it.
Right.
It was tough, but I'm already in it. We separated 4 times before we ended up getting divorced ultimately anyway.
How far into the marriage would you say the first separation?
2 years.
Because you were married for what, 13 years?
Yeah, 13.
So why not just break off? Why stick it out for 13 years?
For the kids. I was never in love with their mother. I wasn't. They weren't made from love to begin with. And I said this before, and people got so mad, this obligation that just because you lay with somebody now, it's sort of an 18-year sentence of some kind, or beyond that, because it's forever. There's resentment there. But at the same time, you do have these children, and you want to try to do your best to do right by them. If we were never supposed to be together like this in the first place, but we have these children, we both have to do what's right for them. And you're right. What we should have done was just separated for good then.
What's that nail in the coffin that then leads both of you to come to the conclusion that you guys are no longer good together, regardless of whether or not you have kids or not?
I think we always knew we weren't that. She may have been lying to herself if she thought otherwise. For me, when I realized I could parent those boys without her, I could be a good parent. I could be there for them and I could give them what they needed from me without being married to their mother.
Do you think that the kids were the thing that kept y'all together as long as you were?
Now, Brian is giving his side of the story, but there's some chinks in the armor. There's a problem. Now, there's some truth to what he's saying when he's speaking in regards to his son, right? But also his son speaks up. But he also has to speak to what he said. You said that your children was born in sin. You wasn't in love with their mother, but you had all these kids, these different kids by this woman, right? You raised the children. You and the wife went through some things because of a lot of things that you were doing when you were on the road, right? Now the son, he came out and he spoke to some of these things in the past, and he called you out as a father for some of the things, not just for what you're talking about now, as far as you taking care of the kids. I'm a father. I have a 33-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 28-year-old, and an 18-year-old. So I get it. When we raise our kids, we spoil them. They so dependent upon us. I get all that kind of stuff. But we ain't talking about that. We talking about your behavior and the way that you raised these kids who you said was born in sin, who you said you wasn't in love with their mother. So we know that they wasn't reared right because the household wasn't right from the start. See, with me, I deal with accountability, whether it's the woman or the man. Because when I say FBA, we have to start cleaning ourselves up, right? But let's look at what his son had to say about the father, and then we'll come back.
Like taking up for his mama.
I've tried, man. I've tried really, really hard. Mm-hmm. To not touch on it. To let it go. To be the bigger person. To be mature. To be something. But for my dad right now, man, if y'all aren't seeing what's happening, if y'all aren't seeing the fact that this is just a very hurt and a very emotionally unavailable and not intelligent person, the person that is still have not been able to handle the death of his own mother.
Damn!
The things that we're seeing him go through right now. To decide to make certain posts on my late brother's birthday. Say what you want, dog. But the gloves are off for me, just to keep it real. And there's... And the thing about it is, it's like, I get it, man. You know, our parents, they're humans too. They've gone through things too. Whatever the grievances they have against each other, whatever. My issue is, though, man, you don't want me to start talking about the things that I had to deal with in my childhood, the things that I will take to my grave, the things that my brother took to his grave, that we could put out there, the things that we could say as a son, as a teenager, as a 15-year-old that my brother was when we started touring, the things that we went through together, the things that we actually saw, the things that we actually lived with and dealt with because our dad wasn't emotionally intelligent enough nor mature enough to actually be a father. You don't want that. And without even getting too deep, man, it's like to do it on my brother's late birthday, my baby brother's heavenly birthday, his first heavenly birthday. This is the post you decide to make? That's not petty? You don't think people are going to realize that that's ridiculous? And that it's obviously strategic? Who are you trying to hurt if it's not me and my mother and our family? Who are you trying to hurt? Who are you trying to hurt, man? Which has always been my issue. Which is why way back when that started all this, I made the post that I made because I knew that this was the only thing that would get you, man. Maybe that was my fault. I've taken accountability for it. But it's become obviously clear, and maybe not even just me, and I'm hoping to the masses that we're dealing with someone that has unchecked trauma that they're not dealing with. There are multiple sides of a story. There are multiple sides of it. You know what I mean? Because you music, because you think you know that you don't. I
Chocolate, you was
do.
supposed to bleep him.
My mama does. My dead bro, God rest his soul, knows him. Who you gonna believe, man? It's petty. I hate it. I hate talking about it. I hate being a part of it. It's such a shame. We watched the Jonas Brothers and their families touring the world together. Should have been us. The problem was, my dad didn't want to do it. He just wanted to.
Oh!
So in closing, man, just to keep it real.
Now, again, like I said, there's two sides to every story. So we hear Brian McKnight, he's giving his spill. But again, he said out of his own mouth that his children was born in sin, that he was never in love with the mother, but he had these children. So these children are already coming in unwanted, right? They're not coming. He said they wasn't born in love, right? So that they are, the relationship and everything is doomed from the start. But then, you know, when you try to be team man and try to defend the brothers, you find out that, okay, now he getting sued by his daughter. His daughter, one of his other children is coming out against him as well. His daughter, she wrote a letter where she said, Daddy's little girl was never really a thing for me. Nobody understands what I've been through except for my siblings. Believe it or not, I'm not always the person I seem to be. I'm not always happy, and most of the time, I'm battling my own demons just like everyone else. I grew up thinking that things that happened to me in my dad's relationship was my fault. I grew up thinking that he doesn't want to come visit me because he doesn't love me. Constantly put behind other kids that he would call his own while I'm cast into the land far, far away. In the back of his mind, it sucks knowing that someone else who's not even blood related to you comes before you in every single way. It sucks knowing that my phone calls have to go through a stranger I barely know, that my text messages are read without a response, and that my stepmother tells me that they wish the best for me. It kills me to know that it's so hard for me and my siblings to get a word in. Not one word. At a very young age, I was always second place in my father's heart. Now, this is a letter that she wrote and put online towards her father. Now, remember, this man had a whole bunch of kids outside of the marriage that he was married to. So now, where there's smoke, there's fire. You hear the son saying things. You hear the daughter saying when she sued him, right? But then he wasn't finished. He while talking to Anton Daniels, because he had people getting at him, he said this.
So I had moved them out of my house because I couldn't take the weed smoke and all that. But I told them, listen, here's an apartment. It's brand new. I'm going to pay for it for a year while y'all get yourselves together. You are now 25 and 22. 25 or 24 and 21.
So you were still trying to help them to become the men that they were supposed to be.
Right.
Even though they were fully grown adults.
Fully grown adults. 24 and 21. Here's your place. Now all your friends come over there. Be creative. You have all these people staying with you. Have them pay some rent. $100 here, whatever you have to do while you guys can get your music off the ground. They had produced a record at my house. It was out. It was doing well. My whole team put them at the Roxy on Sunset.
Yep.
They started doing live gigs. Now 50 people showed up the first time. The second one, maybe 75, 100 people showed up. It's going too slow. They quit. Here's this apartment. You know, I'm going to pay for everything, but get your life together. Figure out what you're going to do. You have this much time. A year passes. They still haven't done it. I said, okay, I'll do another year. Here's your second year.
So they 26 at this point and 27 years old at this point.
They're 26 and 23 by then, right? But we're getting married.
Yeah.
I'm leaving to go out of the country, and I get detained because they're looking for him.
Yeah.
And we have the same name.
Yep.
He now has two from that same girl.
Mm.
And Leilani and I and her mother, we had sat them down and said, listen, what are y'all going to do? You got to get together. Well, she says to me, well, he told me you were going to pay for everything.
As a grown man?
When the second one comes, he comes and tells me that he just happened to be over there and she... And I'm like, what? What is happening? This is where we are now?
Yeah.
So we go ahead and get married in a fairy tale ceremony. I'm going to give you all the video so you can see it. About 6 months later, the oldest calls me. He's like, listen, I don't have a place to stay. Can me and my new girlfriend come live with y'all for a while?
Both of them?
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't even the original girl?
No.
Wow.
As a father, I had to put my foot down because if I give in to this again, I said, no, you're going to have to figure this out. You're now 26, 27 years old. You got these 2 kids you're not taking care of.
Yeah.
You got this woman who now he has another baby with. Now
So he's a 2-time baby daddy.
So he's got this, and it's not about the baby daddy.
And I'm just, that's
it's
just
about,
what it is. Just
you got to take care of your business. I'm not here to take care of, I got my own stuff I got to deal with.
Yeah.
Take care of it. So now he's having to deal with things on his own. And that's when, in 2019, when we decided to leave LA, he goes on his Instagram and tells everyone that he was abandoned, that I abandoned him and his brother. Because here's the thing. Why can't we sit and talk about it?
Yeah, I agree.
I send a message to Joe Budden's podcast. Crickets. Nothing. But who's that Mark, the guy, the political guy?
Mark Lamont Hill.
Let me tell you something. I'd destroy that dude.
Yeah.
I would destroy him. Not physically, but
No,
in
I
a
understand
debate.
what you're saying.
Because you don't even know me. But you call me.
Yeah. Well, I look at Mark Lamont Hill. There's a segment of people that are what I like to call, they like to champion themselves as intellectuals, right? And that they truly believe that they're smarter than everybody else. But I don't really believe that because I never see the results.
Right.
It never translates, right? So
I see people hand him his
it's easy to, it's easy to say that, I'm the smartest guy in the room, but it doesn't necessarily translate into results, right? So I decided that I would do stuff on my own and that I would have the conversations authentically with people that I actually value. And getting to know you over the years, I'm happy that you had an opportunity to tell your perspective and your story on my platform. Let me ask you one more question, because there's been a lot of people from the Ricky Smileys to all of these different type of people that run with a narrative but doesn't necessarily seek the truth. Do you think that they have a greater responsibility on their platforms to be not only entertaining, but also objectively try to find the truth, to have these conversations, especially when they have the opportunity to reach out to you and it's not like you're hard to find?
I think that absolutely they do. And I'll tell you why. One of the reasons why the average watcher or listener is the way that they are is because they see and idolize the people that are acting the way that they do.
Right.
So why would they be any different? Why would they seek the truth? Why would they look for the truth if the people that they put up on a pedestal don't look for the truth either?
Right.
They're more responsible than anyone because they've got the bigger platform. So when I go out and I call somebody out about it and they don't reach back, that just tells me you're a coward, that you don't have the intestinal fortitude.
Now, I did a video on this about a month ago, and I uncovered his children, and the timeline of these children's ages and all the things that he was doing. And there's a lot of validity to what the son was saying, right? And again, I gotta keep saying this, right? If we say that we need to clean up the black community, then we gotta clean up our behavior. I'm not team black man, because we do a lot of messed up stuff. The same way the black women do a lot of messed up stuff, right? We should be talking about decency. You say you love the Most High, then come out from amongst them and be ye separate, right? Many say they love me, but they deny me by thy works. Do right. Try your best to do right. What's wrong with that? Right? So that way you won't be going through this kind of stuff. This dude is crazy though. So check it out, right? While he was married to Julia Mcknight, they had Brian Mcknight and they had Nico, who died. But then he had Cole Nicholas Mcknight, right, 32, Clyde Mcknight, 33 for the mistress, right? Then in his divorce, then he had Breonna Kelly Mcknight, right, his daughter, with Patricia Driver. Then he had Breland Mcknight, 17, right? Then he had Evan Brian Mcknight, 15. With Miriam Moreno. Then he gets with Liana Mendoza, and that's when he had Brian McCullough. So he had all these kids. He had all these kids running around. He only acknowledged the one son, and he blamed everybody else for all the crap that he was doing. This dude is crazy, like really delusional, right? And then he went online talking about his daughter Brianna suing him because you're a piece of crap dad. So he was alluding to Mark Lamont Hill, and him and Mark Lamont Hill had interviews in the past, but it's turned sour, and they're having beefs because a lot of black men are calling him out. And see, this internet thing has gotten so crazy because if you are a black man and you call out another black man, now you're simping. You're simping for women. If you are a black man and you call out a black woman, oh man, you shouldn't be talking about black women. You just hate all women, right? You're not allowed to hold anybody accountable for the things that people clearly see we can see that they're doing, right? So a lot of black men are calling Brian Mcknight out because when you unpack the layers and you see this stuff, you're like, well, hold on, player. You said this. What's up with all these? And then you got all these kids, broken homes you created, and they don't have their father. They upset. They writing letters. They doing all kinds of stuff. I get it. Our kids can be lazy. Our kids can be selfish. Our kids can do some stuff. Listen, I'm a father. I get that part of the argument. But part of it is the way you raise them. And if the house ain't right, the kids ain't going to be right. We got to call for what it is. So Mark Lamont Hill, I'm not a big fan of Mark Lamont Hill at all, right? He spoke to this and he said this.
I don't remember, but let me be clear. Brian Mcknight, is this my camera? Brian Mcknight, you are, and that's okay. It's not a beef. We ain't got no issues. I'm basing that on having interviewed Brian Mcknight lots of times. Since I wasn't going to mention this, but I've interviewed you lots of times. You were rude and nasty to everybody on my crew. Everybody on my team, you were nice to me. But the measure of how you treat the host is how you treat everybody around him. Yeah. To them, no disrespect to you. I was in an airport in Eastern Europe. I was headed somewhere. You were headed somewhere different. I watched a woman come up to you and ask you for an autograph, and you completely ignored and disrespected her and walked off. That's not why we're talking about this. So you say, I don't know you. Right. I don't know you. But I don't have to know you. I don't get into your family business. Your family business has nothing to do with me, except when you make it public. And when you put your family in public on blast, that might make you an. That's all I'm saying. When you have children and you say my children are the product of evil, that might make you. When somebody says, yo, but the Bible says you should love your children, you say my older children were the product of sin. That might make you an. That's just a fact. When you have a child named Brian Mcknight Jr., and then you fall out with them, have a new baby, name him Brian Mcknight with a different middle name, and then legally change your name to the new kid's name, you tried to start back at one with your kids? That might make you an. So please, don't act like you better than us. You're not. You worse than us. If you want to come up here and debate, I'm sure they will let you debate. But you didn't contact nobody. You're lying, just like your children say you lie. And for the record, I have spoken to your children off the record, and they've told me a laundry list that's way worse than anything that's ever happened in the public. I'm not going to say that on air. We could keep that between me and you. But if you keep doing this, I will put it out.
See, that's the thing.
So now, if you want the smoke, keep coming, or we can just stop this right here, my brother. God bless.
Brian Mcknight.
I'm not a big fan, like I said, of Mark Lamont Hill, but what he spoke was facts. If we can call out single moms and we can call out the things that these women are doing online and the things that a lot of our women do in the community, we can call out these men too, right? That's out of line. You know me, I don't spare nobody. I would never want this man around me. We can't be friends. I'm not friends with people that don't do right by their children. I'm not friends with men that don't do right by their women. I'm not friends with them because your loyalty is shaky. I don't get down like that. I was raised like that by not just my father, but the OGs when I was in the game getting money, right? If you don't take care of your own kids, how can you be loyal to me? My OG taught me that a long time ago. How can you have any loyalty to me when you don't even love the ones that come from you? You don't even love the woman you hitch your wagon to. Nah, man. I'm cut different. I'm cut from a different cloth. Right? That's why I got 4 children, 6 grandchildren, and a wife for 25 years. I understand sacrifice, commitment, and legacy. I ain't running around with a bunch of babies outside of my marriage. I'm not saying that my children was born in sin. He said that stuff out of his own mouth. That's what he said. Man, we gotta stop, man. We gotta stop. Marriage is sacrifice, commitment, love, all those things. To me, if there's a disconnect somewhere with this man, and there's some unresolved issues that's never been dealt with. And like the community, the internet is a place where people just come to just to be heard. You making this stuff public, is made public. Everybody's talking about it, right? You got a lot of women that's anti-man. They want to go. You got a lot of men that's anti-women, and it's just going to be a clash. I'm right here in the middle, looking at it as a black man, as a father, as a servant of the Most High God. I'm saying, yo, nah. As a man, I'm telling the homies, that ain't the way. I ain't rocking with that. I don't support him with this at all. At all. No. No. You're wrong. And that's my opinion on it. You got all of those kids out of while you was married, and I'm supposed to make an excuse for you? Nah, man. Part of the kids being out of control and crazy because you undisciplined. And Anton Daniels ain't hold you accountable at all for nothing. So nah, man, I don't know. Y'all gotta let me know what y'all think, man. If you really say you love black people and you tired of all the foolishness in the community, then you should want us to clean up and get right and walk upright. So if you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.